Alright, hello, welcome to my first Photoshop tutorial. Just keep in mind, I'm not a Photoshop pro. I don't do everything like others may be doing. I will most likely be doing things a little differently. So yeah, I'm gonna try and keep this whole thing under 10 minutes, short, informative, and brief. So let's get to it. This is normally what I always do. I always shoot underexposed. So this is the before right here. Wait, the heck? Pretty much this is how it looked before. It was underexposed, so I brought it up to plus 150. Contrast -5, highlights -20, shadows plus 10, whites -50, blacks hardly ever touch that, but sometimes when I do touch it, I'll put it to maybe like -5. Sorry, not -5, +5 or a +10. I won't ever go above that. Clarity, that varies. For this shot, since the picture was already soft enough because I shot at 1.4, I just decided to make it a tiny bit more softer, where make it more feminine, I guess is the best way to put it. So I put it at -10. I don't touch anything else. I did touch the temperature. It's at 3600. Before it was at 3350. But yeah, I did touch the tint a little bit. The tint used to be 19, but I brought it down to the greens to give it more of that vintage look, and I brought it down to +6. Curves I don't touch. Sharpening I brought that up to 80. Masking I brought that up to 60. I don't touch anything else. Everything else is default. Now for the adjustments for like HSL, I rarely ever go above like 5 or 10. I always try to do the most minimal work in HSL. So for instance, brought the reds down to -3, oranges down to -3. For saturations, I brought that down to -3. Oranges +2. Yellows, I brought that down to -30, just for the simple fact that these flowers had so much yellow in it that it took away from the picture. So just bringing that down to -30 made the pictures, it made it feel more alive, more homey. More vintage is what I'm trying to say. Sorry. Luminance, brought that up to +5. Oranges +2. Yellows +3. I mean +3, -3. I don't ever touch split toning. For calibration, color calibration, this is all up to you. I like to mess with this just for the simple fact that you could do some pretty gnarly colors, and you can liven up some other colors too. You can liven up your colors, is what I'm trying to say. I brought this down, so this is what it used to be before. This is how it looked before I brought the hue down to -40. -40 before. So that's usually, the blue is what I always touch. I don't really touch much of the greens or the reds. I rarely ever touch the reds, but when I do, it's usually the saturations. But yeah, you can see here saturations +3. Green primary is -3. Blue primary saturation +3. I barely apply anything to it, so it's unnoticeable. So yeah, let's get to it. Oh, one thing I forgot. The shadows for this I also touched. This used to be at 0, but I brought it down to -5, so it looks like this now. So let's open the image, and we will start doing the magic. Let me get my I had a notebook here. I kind of remember everything, but just to be safe and give you guys like the proper measurements of what I did. Let's do the spot healing. So for the spot healing, obviously it's this right here, this little band-aid looking thing. You just right click it. I'm not sure how it is. I don't have a Mac, I use PC. I'm not sure how it is in Mac. So right click it, spot healing brush. My settings, usually I don't ever touch my settings, but it's always at 15 pixels size. Hardness 5%. Sometimes I have it at 0, but right now it's at 5. Spacing 25. I don't ever change this. Mode normal. Type content aware. Sample all layers. You could check mark that. I don't know why it's unchecked marked, but it should be check marked. Pretty much what it does is if I click this little dot right here, it blends into the shadows. So that's what I'm doing. I'm pretty much just blending in unnecessary spots into the picture, so it doesn't drive away from the picture, is what I'm trying to say. So yeah, I'm gonna speed this up now. See you guys in a little bit. So yeah, let's get those layers back. So usually I like to merge that. Oops. Merge layers. And now let's get to it. Let's get to the actual shindig. So this is what you want to do. In your top, in the top, you should see these: file, edit, image, layer, yada yada yada. Go to layer, new adjustment layer, and you would want to pick black and white. Okay. And normally I don't ever touch black and white till later. Like I don't usually touch this. I don't touch any of these until later. So normally what I do first is I touch opacity. I'll put that down to 5, see how that looks. Kind of shut it on and off, see if it's noticeable or not. If it's not, I'll put a little bit more. I'll go to 10. I usually do increments of 5. And that actually really looks good to me. So the next step is what I'll do is I'll go to layer again, and we'll go to curves. So this is where earlier when I was like, we don't touch curves until later, this is what I meant. Because you kind of want to do everything. You kind of want to add the colors, the curves, and all of that later, and not so early on when you're editing a photo. So I have a picture. I already have like my stuff written down here, so this is gonna be a little faster. So yeah, if you see me kind of like already putting little points here, it's because I have a picture ready on my desk showing, because I don't want to forget. I don't want to forget. So yeah. So this is what I have for this picture. I have a point here. I have a point here, and a point here. These little anchor points, these little dots, that I mean, if you're new to Photoshop, that kind of gives you a little point to work with. So that will have, you can see the shadows. Watch, pay attention to her hair. This part messes with the shadows around her hair and like her jacket a little bit. This point will, you know, brighten up or make more shadows. You know, just play with it. The curve system is, it like makes and breaks a picture. The curve system is so good. I love it. And I mean, it's kind of like cliche and typical of what people will be like, oh yeah. You'll hear that in a lot of photography tutorials where people will say those words of the curve system makes or breaks a picture, but it's true. If you don't mess with the curve system enough, your picture isn't gonna look that good. Usually how I see it, you just have to mess with the curve and just keep messing with it until you find that one system that always works for you. It's not gonna work for every picture, but for the most part, it'll work with almost any picture. For me, this system always works with this. So I'm gonna give you a little general idea of how I make my system. I don't do anything crazy. I barely make my points, and I'll bring this down a little bit. You want to barely do anything, and you want to make the most littlest adjustments now, so when you add more, it's making the picture as you go on. So you'll see what I mean later. It's a little weird. Anyways, for the curve system opacity, I brought it to 90. Fill, I left at 100. Layer, new adjustment. We're gonna do this again. Black and white. And this is where I start messing with the colors. Barely. So I hit tint. I'll bring this down. Sorry, I'll bring it up to like 56. Yellows I brought down a little bit to like 50. Greens, cyans, blues, and magentas I don't touch. At least not for this picture, I didn't touch. So let's go here where it says normal next to the opacity button and bring it down to luminosity. And for the luminosity, I brought the opacity down to 50. And for the fill, I brought that down to 80. So like I said, you kind of want to do the, see, that's how it looks. This is how it looks now. This is before. This is the before picture. This is now. See, you already see the picture being made. It's not quite done yet, but we're getting there. We're getting there. So yeah, let's layer, new adjustment, and we're gonna do another curve. And this curve is just gonna be 1 point. That's it. And it's gonna be right here, like that. I actually didn't do anything to this one. I kept the opacity at 100 and fill at 100. And let's do another layer, new adjustment. And see this one, this is where things are gonna a little get switched up. We're gonna do a pink gradient. So we're sorry, not a new adjustment. We're gonna go to new fill gradient. Okay. And I made this. You could do your own thing if you want, but for this picture, I made a pink gradient. Yeah, so pink gradient, I brought this down to 70. Fill, I brought this to 30. Looks a little wild right now, but I can tell you right now it's gonna look good later. Indigo, so this is, once again, we're gonna do another one. New fill gradient. Indigo, I made this one as well. So I forgot the angle I had this at, but I'll find it after. We'll figure that out later. Opacity, ooh, oh my god, I almost forgot. I am so sorry. Let's go back to the pink gradient fill. No wonder it looked a little weird. We're gonna go to normal, switch this to overlay. There we go. Now it looks a little better. Too pink, but trust me, it's gonna look good later. Turn this back on. Same thing. Go to normal, overlay. Opacity, I kept at 100. Fill, I brought this down to 10. So you see now what I'm trying to do. See? Before, after. Like I said, I don't remember the angle I had this at, so I'm just gonna do this. Like, let's just do it like this. I believe I had it like that. Looks almost exactly like the other picture. We're getting there. So layer, and this time we're gonna do something a little different. Selective color. Okay. For the reds, I actually had this at So pretty much select the color is another thing that also makes and breaks a picture. Do this carefully. Obviously you're gonna want to explore. If you're new to it, you're gonna want to explore, try new things, do what works for you. But for this picture, I have everything written down. So yeah, if you haven't touched this already, I would say go crazy with it and just, you know, figure it out. It really works. It helps a lot. This is what makes a lot of my pictures, and I'm glad I discovered this too. So reds 0, magenta I had it at 1, yellow I had it at 10, black I had this at -5. So we just opened this little, if you want to change the color, just hit this little panel right here, this little down arrow panel, go to yellow. Once again, you don't have to do this step by step. You don't have to copy my numbers, because obviously my numbers are going to be a little different compared to your picture, depending, you know, your lighting and where you're set up at and what's in your picture, so on and so forth. Like for me, I don't have any, I have greens, but I don't touch the greens. I don't have any blues, but you might have blues. So don't copy my numbers, because my numbers might be different from you. So like I said earlier, just explore, go crazy with it, try new things. So right now on the yellow tab, we had this at 2 for the cyan, yellows 25, the blacks I had this at 10. Like I said, I didn't touch the greens, I didn't touch the blues, cyans, magentas, but I did touch the whites. And the white cyan is at 0, magenta is at -20, yellow's at 0, and right here is at 40. Neutrals, I touched the neutrals as well. Both, so the cyan is at 0, magenta is at 0. Neutral, sorry. The yellow is at 1. And I have the blacks down to -5. So I go down to the black tab. Same thing, cyan is 0, magenta 0, yellow is 0, but the black is at +2. So you already see how the picture came about. Like I said, select color really makes and breaks a picture as well. If you just have to mess with it and just see what works with your picture. So like this was the before, and this is the after with select the color applied. Still looks a little dry. It looks like, you know, the shadows I got a little washed up, but don't worry, we're gonna add another curve right now. Usually what happens, so that's why I said do the littlest adjustments, because you may be applying the same thing over and over and over, and that over and over and over will make your picture better later. So don't go crazy, don't put like 100 here, 100 there, and 100 there, because, you know, maybe 7 steps from that you're gonna add another 3 of those, and you're gonna have to make those 100 as well, and it's just gonna break your picture. So always just, opacity and fill are like lifesavers. So curve system, I didn't go crazy with this, but I did put one right here, and we're gonna bring it down a little bit, like maybe like right there, and I'm gonna bring this up a little bit to right here, the output too. And yeah, this curve would be at 40, and this opacity would be at 100. I don't know why I changed it. And this is how it looks for right now. So it kind of saved the picture now. Looks a little better. Doesn't look too washed. And the final thing, going to layer, new adjustment layer. Actually, where is it at? Right here, vibrance, sorry. And this is the last thing I always apply to my pictures. I never do this first or in the middle. I always do this as the very last thing. Vibrance, I had this at +10. Saturation, oops. Saturation, I had it at -5. And opacity and fill, I keep those 100, 100. So this is, I'm gonna group these together. And this is the before, and this is the after. Now, I mean, I could do this whole, I could do the, to kind of give it the Instagram feel, you know. I forgot how I had this though. I believe I had it like this. No, I didn't have it like that. The heck. Oh my god, this is gonna take a while. I forgot how I had the picture. Okay, never mind, I found it. There we go. That's how I had it. Don't worry about me. I got it, boys and girls. I got it. But yeah, this is how I got my colors for the pictures. For the picture. You know, let me know if you guys enjoyed the video. If there's anything else I could cover for you guys. This is my first video, so I'm trying to be informative and quick as possible. But if I went a little too fast, let me know. I'll slow it down for the next video. Or if anything, if I didn't go too fast, let me know. But overall, I just want to know what you guys thought. Let me know in the comments. I'll talk to you guys later. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. My Instagram is Nico Rodriguez. I'll put it down in the description below. I'll catch you guys later. Peace out. Thank y'all.